Good evening, everyone. It's great to be with you, Neil. Thank you for that kind introduction. Before I begin, I'd like to say a quick word of thanks to Noah Latif and everyone at the Foreign Policy Association for this honor. While I'm the one receiving this award, it's really a recognition of the wonderful work of everyone at Edward Jones, and on their behalf, I thank you. I also want to congratulate the other honorees this year, John Waldron of Goldman Sachs and Carlo Messina of Intesa Sanpaolo, two very deserving honorees. It's an honor to be in your esteemed company. Today, I'd like to talk about the trust-leadership connection. It's a topic I approach with passion, but also with humility. John Bachman, one of my predecessors as managing partner of Edward Jones, was known for saying that trust is earned, it can never be claimed. I think that's a very important point for all of us to keep in mind, especially right now. To that end, I'd like to talk tonight about the importance of trust, the current trust gap, how we earn trust, and I'll share some of the ways that our firm is building trust. The trust imperative is clear for any business, and it's an essential element of success. When I think about trust at Edward Jones, I think about the millions of families who invite us to talk with them about their financial hopes and dreams, their kids' college education, what they want to do in retirement, and even the legacy that they want to leave. Those are deeply intimate topics. Trust is paramount to our success in living our purpose of making an impact on the lives of our 7 million clients. Yet trust is more than about clients alone. Over the past 20 years, the role of business in society has evolved, enlarging our focus on a more complete group of stakeholders. BlackRock CEO Larry Fink, in his annual letter to shareholders last year, noted that every company must not only deliver financial performance, but also show how it makes a positive contribution to society. The Business Roundtable came out strongly in favor of stakeholder capitalism last year as well. The communities in which we all live and work are increasingly demanding that business has a positive impact on society. Edelman's Trust Barometer research bears this out in numerous ways. 85% of people are looking to brands to solve for their individual needs, whether it's protection, innovation, information, or connection. 80% of people want brands to provide societal solutions. They expect businesses to be a visionary problem solver and a force in shaping culture. Nearly half of Americans say that they trust most of the brands that they buy or use, which means if they don't trust a brand, they aren't buying. The triple pandemic that we're all navigating right now, our health crisis, the resulting economic uncertainty, and our national conversation on race has put even more emphasis on trust. As Edelman found, more than 3/4 of Americans say it's deeply important that companies respond to racial injustice to earn or keep their trust. Nearly half of those polled said how a brand responds to the social justice protests has a huge impact on their likelihood to purchase. There's more, but you get the idea. The need for trust in business is high. But here's the issue that we face. The trust that we need to navigate through this triple pandemic isn't always there. Only half of employees believe it's safe to return to office spaces, and only 14% are confident that senior leaders will make good decisions about returning to their offices. Nearly half of Black Americans distrust the business world. 70% of Americans think CEOs aren't capable of recognizing the racism that exists all around them, and 29% believe that CEOs themselves are deeply racist. Only 44% of Americans believe the business community has taken concrete action to address systemic racism. Those are startling numbers. They are even a little bit dismaying. Clearly, there is a lot of work to be done. It starts with lining up our actions with our words. As my predecessor, Jim Weddle, put it, your video has to match your soundtrack. It means proving that our stakeholders' best interests are top of mind, that we have their backs. For us, this level of trust starts with listening, actively seeking to understand what's most important to our clients, their families, our associates, and our communities. It also means that companies that want to be trusted must be prepared to take a public stand on values-based issues that authentically align with their mission and purpose. Unfortunately, according to PwC's Putting Purpose to Work survey, while nearly 80% of business leaders say purpose is central to business, only about a third of them say the organization's purpose guides decision-making for their leaders. Think about that. It's no surprise then that there is a trust gap and that trust is low these days. There's a gap that stakeholders can see and they can feel. So how can we improve the level of trust in business? I found some good advice from MIT's Sloan Management Review that's really stuck with me. It says that while competent leaders move their organizations forward, which sounds great, trusted leaders go further. Trusted leaders are protective of both the organization and their employees. They embody the organization's values, they engage with a broader group of stakeholders, and they communicate openly. For me, this advice is a reminder that we have choices about the kind of leaders that we want to be, choices about how we manage our personal and our professional lives, and what causes we champion. These choices often require courage, stepping out of our comfort zones. When we embrace our convictions with courage, when we lead with purpose, not only do our organizations thrive, but we help all of our stakeholders thrive, and we thrive as leaders. The whole forest flourishes. Beyond having a strong purpose, though, leaders need to take action. We have to drive change. Trust demands action. We also have to hold ourselves publicly accountable for generating real, measurable results. As an illustrative example, at Edward Jones, we recently announced our 5-part commitment to address issues of equity, diversity, and inclusion in our firm as well as in our communities. The 5 aspects of this commitment were selected based on research and through conversations with people impacted by institutional racism. We committed to the personal, interpersonal, and structural work that is required to make a difference. First, to give everyone a voice and to continue engaging in honest dialogue. Next, a continued focus on equitable hiring, training, promotional practices, and policies. Third, analyzing pay in our home offices and taking action as necessary to address any gaps that we find. Fourth, racial equity training that builds extensively on what we've already been doing. And finally, continuing to support organizations and efforts that are important to our clients, associates, and communities, including a $1.2 million investment in the National Urban League and the St. Louis Urban League. We're holding ourselves accountable for making real progress with these commitments. We will publicly share our progress in a new Inclusion and Diversity Annual Report, and we will share results of our equal pay assessment. We recognize that there's a lot of work to do to end bias in all of our workplaces and racism and discrimination in our world. The question to ask ourselves is, what action are we each willing to commit to in order to build trust with our stakeholders? What actions would start to make you feel like you are outside your comfort zone? For me, when I get uncomfortable, I know I'm headed in the right direction. Trust requires that kind of leadership, and it requires making and keeping promises. Trust is the residue of promises made and kept. As managing partner of Edward Jones, I'm humbled by the opportunity and responsibility to be that kind of leader. Earning the trust of more than 49,000 colleagues and more than 7 million clients is a challenge that we as a firm accept, and I wouldn't have it any other way. Thank you.